Welcome to Driven by Web Data, a podcast about trends, innovations, and real-life web data-driven success stories, produced by Webs.io, with Ran Geva, CEO, Yafit Lazar, Head of Content, and leading guests from the industry.
Search engines are changing. They've been with us for around 30 years, but the need to crawl and index fresh content and fast is only growing. This challenge has attracted even greater public attention in recent months since the launch of ChatGPT. We talked to Fabrice Canel, the Principal Program Manager at Bing, Microsoft, the man behind the evolution of Bing over the past 25 years, who is now leading a new initiative to solve this big challenge. We all know how to use search engines, but a majority of us know very little about how it works behind the scene. Fabrice, can you tell us how search engines work?
This is first, search engines have to discover the internet content. What to crawl, we don't know. So first, it's about discovering URLs. Then it's about selecting the best content. Every day, we discover more than 70 billion distinct URL on the internet. Billion with a B, lot of URL out there. And so we cannot really afford to visit everything. This will be way too much. So we have to select the best content. Then this is about crawling, to really fetch, download the content, to retrieve this HTML or images or JavaScript and so on, the content, the raw content. Then it's about processing, understanding what the content is all about, generating features. Is this content Japanese content, Chinese content, French content? So generating features about the content, really deeply understanding the content. And then this is about retrieving this content, where customer issue a query and you want to retrieve the best content on the internet matching the queries. So this is kind of how search engines are working end to end.
Yeah. I mean, there are many websites that want to be discovered, that they want to be part of Bing or search engines because search engines bring traffic to their websites. So, and they're all competing on search engine attention. So it is choosing and picking and going over and knowing where and what to crawl is a real challenge because you have, in a sense, limited resources and in a sense, there's also unlimited number of websites. Today, one of the main protocols used by every search engine to help crawl relevant website content is sitemaps. You were there from the start when sitemap was developed.
Yeah, so I collaborated absolutely with Google and Yahoo in the early days to come up with a sitemap protocol and to really define it and refine it. This was initially defined by Google, and we collaborated to improve it and to come up with a sitemap protocol that is hosted on sitemap.org.
Fabrice, can you share with us a few of the challenges sitemaps faced?
So first is sitemap is a great way for webmaster to tell search engine every day, once a day, the full landscape, all the URLs hosted on the site. And this is really helping search engine to discover the deep content. When you have a website with millions and millions of URL, it's really hard for search engine to start from the home page and to follow links to go to all these leaf pages at the end of the website. So somehow with a sitemaps, you can link up to 50k URL and you can have a Nuber sitemaps called an index sitemaps that will link to this sitemaps, leaf sitemaps. And at the end, you can link really to trillions of URL with 2 levels of sitemaps. And the benefit is, again, on one shot, with very few call, search engines are able to discover all URLs on the site. The challenge that we are seeing is that we cannot really fetch first all the sitemaps every 5 seconds to discover all the links. Second is that these sitemaps are not really refreshed often. Some are weekly, some are daily, yes, some are real time. But again, we cannot fetch all the sitemaps often. Second problem is that not all URLs are linked to the sitemap. Sometimes people are missing content in sitemaps, especially when this is database generated content. So again, issues with there. So, and the third is that I encourage everybody to review last modified date information in sitemap. We've tweaked a little bit the protocol on sitemaps.org to really explain that the last modified date is not the time the sitemap is generated. This is the time of the content. This is when the content has been changed. And we see a lot of issues with last modified date that is not accurately set.
So what has changed?
Sitemap was great 20 years ago because 20 years ago there was really no need of freshness. Search engine have evolved. I've got kids. My teenagers are all about latest content. They don't care about 6 weeks ago content and so on.
All news.
All news, all what's happening in the world, what's happening right now. And this is sitemaps is obviously great to catch up with website. It's not great at fresh content. And so we come up with a protocol IndexNow that is aimed to satisfy not only added, updated, and deleted content to know what's happening on the site right now.
Can you tell us a bit about IndexNow?
Yeah, so IndexNow is an easy way for website owner to instantly inform search engine about latest content change on their website. In its simple form, IndexNow is a simple ping, simple, easy to use, that search engine to let search engine knows about latest content posted on the site, that this is added, updated, or deleted content. And it allows search engine to quickly reflect this content change in the engine. Without IndexNow, as we say with sitemaps, but just with crawling, it can take days to weeks for search engine to discover if the content has changed. Search engine don't crawl every URL so often, so with IndexNow, search engine know immediately the URL that have changed and helping to prioritize the crawl for this URL and thereby limiting organic crawling on the site. You tell what change, we are coming to pick up this change. Thank you. We don't need to crawl more.
The idea is to change the way search engines are crawling content, and by doing that, save a lot of resources too.
The hope is really to do night and day versus what we do today. Mean that we can maybe cut crawling by 100, by 1,000 times what we do today. You have some very large library site where really the content is not changing too much. This is mostly a data repository of static content. And yes, we publish some URL every day, but really change is limited. So again, with IndexNow, we aim to really lower the crawl on the whole internet and minimize the number of crawls we are doing.
You are saving resources both on Microsoft side, so on the crawling itself, and also on the server side. So the site themselves, that when you crawl them, you actually get resources and get the server to respond. So once you reduce the amount of irrelevant calls to the website, you basically also reduce on your farm, your servers, and also on the site owner servers, so that reduce costs and resources, and by doing so reduce electricity.
This is significant because according to recent estimations, about 15% of all traffic on the internet is from good crawlers, including crawlers from large search engines like Bing and Google.
IndexNow, by modeling, by knowing what change, we can really cut the crawling by 100 times, 1,000 times.
This could have a meaningful impact if adapted widely. Can any search engine use IndexNow?
IndexNow is open protocol, is not a close being specific, or we have other search engine participating to IndexNow and more coming.
We know that Google is currently testing out IndexNow, but are other search engines already using it?
At this time, there is Bing, there is Yandex and Cessnam. Other search engines are coming. They will do announcement in the following weeks and months. We may have a search engine coming later this month, maybe two.
Will IndexNow be available to other organizations like universities or commercial applications?
Yeah, we do believe in open internet and exposing the data. And so this is in the future, I see this kind of opportunity openness.
IndexNow started a year ago. It's a big project with big message. How do you go about promoting it?
First of all, adoption is real. Already more than 16 million websites have adopting IndexNow. And I can share a new number. This is more than 2 billion URL per day are coming in.
Nice.
So I cannot scale. Same business development cannot scale. The scale of the internet is too big. So what we do is that really we come up with first documentation, good protocol that is very easy to adopt. The first thing is that there is a lot of plugins already in place. For instance, for WordPress, Duda support automatic submission by default. We will see content management system supporting other content management system coming in to support Annexno by default. And so this need to be kind of built in the internet, as sitemaps is built in plenty of content management system, and Annexno need to be built in, because then webmaster have nothing to do. It's free. It's enabled by default, free for them. Point number one. Point number two is that, there is a lot of top sites that have specific content management system where they need to do code to publish the URL to Annexno. So what we were really kind of good at, this is no complex protocol. This is a simple ping to notify the search engine with a kind of innovation. This is just you have a key that you need to host on the site to tell that you are really the site. That's it. Super, super easy to adopt. And for top websites that have specific content management system, this is all about making, again, easy, no friction in terms of adoption protocol, very easy, simple ping to adopt.
Where do you see search engines in the next 5 to 10 years?
So what we see is that search engines are improving year over year a lot. We see that in our metrics. When we look back, we see how dumb we were a few years ago versus what we are today. Clearly, most search engines have already solved what we call navigational query. You query for Facebook, you go to Facebook, problem solved. But clearly, as you go to the tail queries where this is personal, long queries, clearly no search engine is there. We can improve. We are there for some query. We are not there for all queries. And there is a lot to do to really deeply understand the problem, the query intent. What is this query? Who is this user? What he or she is looking for? To be able to really retrieve the best content on the internet, there is a way to go. But again, the machine learning, all the intelligence is coming year over year, and really we are improving. I still think that we are at preschool, and someday we will be in high school, and someday we'll be in university and do great.
Whether indexed now will make a huge impact is yet to be seen. It is, however, an indication that major search engines are looking to dramatically shorten the time it takes to retrieve relevant information from the web.
Driven by Web Data is a product of Webs.io, a world-leading web data provider that empowers companies around the world to generate actionable insights with structured data from the open, deep, and dark web.